So today we have Zach Cavaness with us. He graduated in 2015, I believe. Is that right?
2015.
Marion High School. And the things I remember about Zach are that he was adventurous and fun-loving, always fun to have in class, and his video projects were always the best. So I'm so glad that you were willing to be with us today, Zach, and to share with my students. If you wouldn't mind to kind of start out for us and just share a little bit about your time at MHS, what you were involved in, that kind of thing, that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. And real quick, are you still showing those video projects?
Some of them, yes.
There we go. Love to hear it. I remember I used to get some Snapchats still when I was in college of people watching my videos in class. So.
Yeah, the sports and entertainment one I definitely show. And sometimes I just show your Razor scooter one or whatever that was for fun. That has nothing to do with class. But
Hey, that's always a fun one to watch,
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
But so like you said, graduated in 2015. I was involved in a few different things at Marion High School. I was in FBLA, of course, all 4 years. And I served on the exec board, I think, for maybe two. And then I was on student council. I was on the soccer team, and I was in Spanish club. So I think that would be really the main involvements I was in at the high school.
Well-rounded.
Yeah, all over the place. I wish I would have actually learned Spanish while I was in school, but decided not to, I guess.
Well, there's only so much time in a day, I guess. So, well, if you wouldn't mind to share kind of where you went from Marion High School, from there to where you are today, just kind of give us a little bit about your career path. That would be great.
Yeah. So from Marion High School, really senior year, I actually was in your class when I was applying for one of the two schools that I was deciding to go to. Or I applied to both of them. I applied to like three schools, Missouri, Kansas, and then SIU. And I visited Kansas and Missouri in the same weekend, decided to go to University of Missouri. Absolutely loved it and would highly recommend to anyone watching this. If you're a business student, of course, the business school is amazing there as well. So it's great. So went there, had a few internships throughout my time there. I actually interned back here with Black Diamond Harley-Davidson with their marketing team during the Toby Keith concert. So
Yeah.
I kind of helped, I guess, put that on, not super high level anything. It was really small stuff, but still, it was cool. And then I interned with a brewery in St. Louis called Schlafly. That was an awesome experience. Basically, my main task there, they gave me a budget of $220,000, and I created their marketing campaign for 20.
Wow.
Yeah, that was cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. And I did that one because I really knew I wanted to go into sales, which is where I'll be talking about in just a second. But I wanted to really see the marketing side of having a marketing degree. So I took that internship. And then right after graduation, I moved to Dallas and worked at AT&T for a little bit in their business-to-business sales program. It was a great experience, but I found out that I didn't really like that industry. Selling like phone, internet stuff to businesses wasn't really for me. Although if you don't know what you want to do and you do know you want to do sales, I'd highly recommend that as well. It's a great time. I was with 300 other kids are my age, recent college grads, all living together. It was kind of like college round two. It was pretty fun. It was a little bit more fun than work, but that's all right. And then to where I'm at now, I work for a kind of small, I wouldn't even consider it a startup anymore. It's called ChowNow. And we're kind of like a DoorDash or a Grubhub or Postmates, okay. Kind of similar to that. And I am a sales development representative for them. So I'm in their sales team. And yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Awesome. So you studied marketing at Mizzou, is that correct? Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay. Awesome. So what is outside of the coronavirus, what is a normal day like for you when you're, typically working?
Yeah. So I live in Kansas City. So I live in one of the suburbs of Kansas City called Overland Park. It's about 20 minutes with traffic downtown to downtown. And I work downtown. So wake up, drive, get to work around 8:30. Kind of just depends what my day looks like from the night before. And then we have a early meeting with the whole team. We all kind of stand up, bounce some ideas for the day. Basically just say, let's have a good day and then get to work. So I basically, it's a lot of cold calling. So that's a lot of with sales roles. Anywhere you start out with sales, you're going to be doing cold calling, just to be honest. Now, did I see myself while I was getting my marketing degree, going to be a professional cold caller? No, I didn't. But I actually enjoy it, weirdly enough, especially in this job because I truly like the product. So really, I have 3 territories that I call on. So that's how I kind of set up my day. I have some areas in Florida, so like Central Florida, parts of Orlando, up to Northern Florida. Then I have all of Atlanta and around the outside areas of Atlanta. And then I have San Antonio, and it kind of creeps into Austin a little bit as well. And then,
Gotcha.
of course, like way southern Texas. So I kind of call on all those different areas.
So when you say you cold call, for my students that may not be familiar with what you mean by that, what is a cold call?
Yeah. So cold calling is basically reaching out to someone that may have never heard about you. And in my position, I'm more just trying to get them some information, learn a little bit about what they do, see if we can help them out in any way. And then if we can, basically setting a demo or a meeting with them to really go more in depth at a time that they can talk for a little bit longer than kind of 5 minutes. Most of my calls are really supposed to be around 5 minutes. So it's a very quick interaction. There's also a lot of no answers or we aren't interested. You're going to get that a lot. So you
Sure.
definitely got to be able to handle kind of defeat, I guess, just because it's just kind of part of it.
Well, I'm sure that, there's just the numbers there, like, yeah, if you're doing 5-minute calls, you're going to expect a certain percentage to be rejection, but then that you've got a certain percentage that you'll connect with, and you have to kind of stay positive and look at that side of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So kind of to base off the numbers, so kind of where we're at with my company, at least, we're trying to make around 80 calls a day, which when I was going in sounded like a ton. But then whenever you think about it, like we're calling restaurants. A lot of the times they're either going to say the boss isn't here, which that's a 30-second phone call, or they're not open, they're not going to answer.
Mhm.
So we typically have around 80 calls a day, and we want to really set 5 meetings. So to get into those numbers, the percentage is not super high with cold calling, but it is what it is. And that, but basically brick by brick.
Yeah. So would you mind to share a little bit more about this business? You said it's not really a startup at this point, and you said it's kind of like Grubhub or something like that. But would you kind of share with my students what the business model looks like?
Yeah. So we're a little bit different than kind of the traditional delivery apps where you go on your phone and you order from the restaurant, but like it doesn't, at that point, you're not really, you don't care what restaurant you're ordering from, you're more ordering from the app, and then you find a restaurant on there. With us, we really form more of a partnership with the restaurants. We basically power their online ordering on their website.
Gotcha.
We also have our own app as well, but we really try to push not the app. Like we don't do any consumer marketing. We do
Gotcha.
all business marketing.
Okay.
So we're really pushing the restaurant brand itself. So for a local example, although they're shut down right now, La Fiesta uses us. So if you were to go to their website and order online, it's the only thing you can do on their website, like in terms of ordering. That's our system. So if
Gotcha.
you want to check that out, or we have a few others in the area like Don Luna, Primo's. I think I've never had it, but it's in Heron or Energy or something. So
Okay. Awesome. So what has this kind of the way the economy is working right now, has that in some ways helped your business? Are restaurants a little more interested in
yeah,
their online presence right now, and making pickup and delivery more available?
100%. So and especially with our model. So just real quick to give a little bit more insight on the business model. So the bigger companies that everyone's heard of, the DoorDashes, all that, they charge a percentage of every single order. So every time you order through that app, the consumer will pay a fee, the consumer will pay a delivery fee, and then the restaurant will pay a percentage of that order. So typically around 30%, which is a lot in the restaurant world because their profit margins are not that high. A lot of the times they're not even 20% profit margins. So A lot of these places are kind of doing it, hoping people will come back into their restaurant, but it's normally not the case, sadly. So with us, the restaurant pays a flat monthly fee. If they do around 5 orders a day, they're going to be saving a lot of money on our platform as they would on others. So to go back to the question about kind of what's going on right now, yes, restaurants are reaching out to us left and right. It is crazy. So kind of go back to my typical day before COVID, it was all cold calling. Right now, I haven't made a cold call since March 6th, probably. It's all people reaching out to us that want to learn more about us, and I'm just calling on leads that have submitted info.
That's very exciting. I feel like there's so much bad news about the economy, and this is good to see. And I've been intrigued by the innovation. Obviously, your company was already doing this before this happened, but it's been neat to see the innovations that are taking place. I was listening to a podcast the other day about how the restaurant businesses are learning that they have to be more like the Walmart and Target with, giving their customers more flexibility in the way the product is delivered and things like that. So that's been cool to watch from a business perspective. So.
Yeah, and the crazy thing too with kind of everything going on, like I mentioned with those higher percentages that some of our competitors may charge, there's been a lot of negative publicity to those bigger companies, a lot of lawsuits coming out just because of just unfair payment, basically. So it's really, our company's kind of thriving right now. Of course, we can't really like celebrate it because it's in not the best time. But it's, of course, I mean, it's good nonetheless.
Sure. Yeah, I think in the long run, you'll see benefits from this too. So that's really exciting.
Yeah, I joined in at a really good time, a really lucky and good time that I joined, because I just started here in mid-December. So
the company is based out of Kansas City. Is that where it started, or?
Based in Los Angeles.
Okay.
So our headquarters is in Los Angeles, and then we have our Kansas City office, which opened in October. And we have about 75 employees in Kansas City. And then we have, I don't even know, like 150, maybe 200 in Los Angeles. And then we have sales representatives basically in every major city. So, or if not, at least 2 in every city.
That's great. That's really cool. So from what I'm hearing, and the things that I'm enjoying about these interviews, I just started doing this week, and I'm going to start posting and sharing next week. But I'm hearing consistently from my students that communication skills are so important. But if you wouldn't mind to share what skills you think are the critical ones that have helped you, the ones that you see people advancing in your profession, what are those skills?
Yeah, so one is really, for me personally, and I think a lot of other people, especially during these times, is time management, which I had a very bad time with time management, especially in like college, even high school, really, and not that long ago with my last job, everything, my time management was just not there. I never used a calendar, kind of just did my stuff, whatever. I've become a calendar person and use a calendar for basically everything. Like, I blocked off this for time to do this. I blocked off lunch today. I blocked off times for other places. Like I said, I have certain times I call every day for different places. So I really, really rely on that. So time management is huge, especially when being flexible, like working from home, whenever I can look to my left and I see an Xbox. Love to be playing right now, but can't be doing that because that's just how it works. And then kind of to build off that as well is really just having focus, really, and just making sure that you can stay on task, however that works for you. If you need to take breaks every hour for 5 minutes, that's something you should be able to do. And, I think it's interesting in times like this because we're all at home, working from home by ourselves. So anything you can do to make it as normal as possible is just extremely, extremely important, in my opinion.
All right, thank you. Those are valuable tips. And I'm not gonna lie, doing these interviews is kind of like a lifeblood for me too. Yeah. I say this is for my students, but I'm maintaining a schedule, when I'm doing them, and it's, I feel like I'm still somewhat offering new content for my students, because we kind of have directives about what content we can offer. And honestly, it's difficult to engage students when they know that they're not getting a grade, So I
Yeah.
feel like these interviews are going to be really good, but they're great for me. Like I love them and I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to sharing them. So
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's awesome that you're doing them for sure, especially with like trying to keep everybody engaged. Cause like, once again, with the time management thing and focus thing, I'd probably be one of those people in high school that's maybe not doing too much right now, but stuff like this is always good to watch. And especially for like seniors really that are moving on to college soon, and even juniors that are taking they taken the ACT already?
everything has been thrown up in the air. The SAT, we're SAT state now in Illinois.
Oh,
Yes. But no, that's kind of all been on hold now. So we are still going to do college board exams in May.
okay.
They're going to do them at home with,
Oh,
yeah. So that's going to be really interesting. But this is a great segue then. You've talked about the importance of time management, and you mentioned that these are good things for seniors to think about. If you were traveling back in time to when Zach Cavaness was 16, 17, 18, what do you wish he would have known? What are the wisdom that you would like to impart on students that might be listening today?
yeah. Well, I think one thing really in terms of like college, I guess this isn't really 16, but I'm still going to share it just because I think it's important.
Sure.
Like I kind of mentioned in the beginning of this, I never saw myself as a professional cold caller. Don't worry about if you don't know what you want to do is a huge tip for me, because I went in, I knew I wanted to do something with business, but I really had no idea what I wanted to do. I think, of course, it's always nice to have an idea, but don't be scared if you don't know what you want to do. Just kind of try and have a general idea as much as you can, but the only way you'll figure that out is just learning more. So I think don't be overwhelmed or scared if you don't know what you want to do, because I don't think you'll figure it out. Everyone figures it out at some point. So that's one thing. Trying to think of everything else. I would definitely take schooling a little more seriously. Like I didn't do bad in school at all in high school.
Yeah, you were a good student.
And like I did everything I needed to do, but I think I could have taken it a little more seriously. So I think taking school seriously, especially speaking of Spanish club, if you are taking a foreign language, take it seriously, because in my work, and I experience this almost every day, I'll call a restaurant and it might be a restaurant of a person that doesn't is English is their second language. And especially like San Antonio has a lot of Mexican restaurants, so a lot of Spanish speaking people. I have a hard time being able to talk with them sometimes because they might be only Spanish speaking. So I'll have to hit up one of my coworkers. Hey, can you take this call? Because you can speak Spanish and I can't. So that'll give you the upper edge. It literally like being able to speak Spanish, can raise your salary in a lot of companies if you can fluently do it, and B, in a situation like mine, you can use it to your advantage. If your coworkers can't speak Spanish or other languages as well, it's just another benefit. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Maybe I don't know.
Well, those are good things. It's funny because I talked to a couple of students earlier in the week, and they said, taking advantage of trying the different avenues while you're in high school, exploring those different things. And they also mentioned, it was Adam and Allison Berge.
Mm-hmm.
They mentioned that the technical information knowledge will come. Like as you get a job, they're going to train you. You're going to learn with experience. But those communication skills, the time management, being just a responsible person, those are the things that set you apart. And if you're doing those things, then your employer is going to be willing to do the training with you, and get you the
Absolutely.
information you need. So
I think that kind of goes back like being involved too in high school. So trying out those different avenues, like being with FBLA and being on the exec team or exec board and everything I did with FBLA, among other things. Being able to speak to a crowd, like we had an event, I think it was my junior year, over at the Pavilion, where we had 100 people there or something, maybe even more
our
than that.
banquet, yeah.
Yeah, a big banquet there. And I remember like speaking in front of the whole audience. And it was just like, I think it's scary, of course, but huge confidence builder for the long run. And like, so that leading into college, I took a public speaking class. I was able to do that with ease because I had already spoke to 100 people and now I'm speaking to 15. And of course, it's still nerve-wracking. It's always nerve-wracking giving a presentation, but I think that's another thing I would advise is always doing presentations as good as you can. And of course the content as well, but actually presenting and practicing because you don't know when you're going to have to do that next and you will have to do it again, especially in college. I had presentations in every single class, like once a month at least. So
yeah, I feel like that is just one of those key things, especially for business majors. You're going to be doing group projects. You're going to be doing presentations. Those are things that are just part of it. And also, when you were in college, you were pretty involved with the Greek life, right? And took on leadership roles there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I was in a fraternity at Mizzou. My sophomore year, I was the treasurer of the fraternity. So I managed, I forget the exact number. I think it was like $50,000 or 56, something like that. Pretty good amount of money, basically just to throw towards really whatever. I made a budget, didn't really stick to it the best, but we came out at the end of the semester with the most money we've ever had left over. So, and had the most events and like donated the most. So it was pretty cool. I don't know I have no idea how that worked out, but it did. Yeah, so I was the treasurer for a little bit. And then I joined the steering committee for Greek Week, which was huge. Greek Week was like the biggest event besides homecoming at Mizzou. We put on all like the sporting events for the week, all like dance stuff. There was like plays, I guess, like skits. Sorry, I forgot the word. Skits and dance, and among a ton of other things. And of course, we had like community service events. We raised money from local businesses. So that was one of my roles. My second year, I was on the PR team. So we handled all the social media and then also raising all the money from local establishments. So hitting up restaurants or just local law firms helped us out, anything it may be. I'd have meetings with them, mostly phone calls more than anything, but kind of just having a phone call with these people, telling them what we do, why it would be a good idea for them to donate, and then securing the money. And I think my junior year, which would have been my second year on the committee, we raised $120,000 for 7 different charities.
Wow. So again, a lot of times when students get to their senior year and they're working on those scholarship applications and things like that, and they don't, or they're trying to build a resume and they say, I don't have any experience. That's how you get experience, even if you're not being paid. Like
100%.
You were already doing cold calls, you were doing budgets, you were, doing social media and marketing.
Mm-hmm.
You can get experience.
Yeah, getting paid does not equal experience, or doesn't necessarily equal experience. It's experience equals experience. So, I mean, I had on my resume stuff about FBLA. I mean, probably 2 years into college, and then I was luckily enough a part of enough organizations in college and different stuff and different experiences where I could take that off because you don't want to use too much old stuff on your resume.
Yeah.
But yeah, in college when I was applying for internships, Greek Week Steering Committee was on there. And it was not just listed Greek Week Steering Committee. It was like listed as if it was a job. Greek Week Steering Committee. Here's what I did. Here's what I did. Here's what I did. So yeah, definitely. And you could do the same with FBLA or student council or anything like that you may be involved in high school. That's something you could absolutely add onto a resume.
For sure. Yeah, that's important, I think, for our students to hear from someone outside of school, so that they realize that they're building their experience and their skill sets right now. So that's good. And if you wouldn't mind, one last question. Would you mind to talk a little bit about the importance of internships for business students and kind of, how those work and what the purpose is?
Absolutely. So at least at Mizzou, just to start this off hot, we had to have an internship to graduate as a business student.
That's good.
So it was a requirement. I mean, some people tried to do workarounds where they would like fake an internship, which is not smart. There's no reason to do that. Internships are super important. A lot of the times, especially now, a lot of internships are paid, which is awesome, because I know like even a few years ago, they really weren't paid very often. So you get paid. And of course you get a ton of experience. Even like back with my first internship, like I said, was the Black Diamond. I didn't do anything too crazy with Black Diamond. Like I didn't I didn't meet Toby Keith. I didn't plan him coming, but I did a bunch of back end stuff that helped out the event. Stuff that it would have been someone else doing, where they had a ton of other more important stuff to do. So you're helping out an organization as well, and you're also just learning what it takes. If I wasn't there, what it would have been for them, and what you would be doing if you're in that role later on in life. So I think that's important. And then really just meeting people and networking through those internships. I didn't go a super business traditional route of internships, being that I was with a Harley dealership and then a brewery. But there's a lot of internships out there where you could go with a big company and meet a ton of people and have a ton of connections down the line, either with that company or just throughout anywhere. So that's definitely important. And then, of course, for getting a full-time job, internship experience is extremely important as well. That's really what they're going to predominantly talk about in interviews. It's mostly what I talked about when interviewing for this job, as well as my job before this. So internships are absolutely important.
Awesome. Well, this has all been just really valuable information. I'm very excited to share this with my students. I appreciate you taking time to do this with us. And I just look forward to following your career and continuing to see where it takes you. So thank you very
Absolutely.
much.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.